Hare Krishna. Prabhu, a few things I want to say.
Parmeshwar Prabhu, thanks a lot.
Hare Krishna to all of you. So we have almost 80 participants here already. Very happy to see so many leaders present here. Rameshwar Prabhu, I see you there, very beautifully showing darshans of your deities. And so many others who are present. Shabdahari Prabhu, our main presenter, is already here. Just let me start with giving a quick background of His Grace Shabdahari Prabhu. Shabdahari Prabhu is still a kid. I don't know whether he's even 40 years of age. I don't believe he's even 40. How old are you, Shabda? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yes, 37, Prabhu.
I'm not able to hear him.
Can you hear me now, Prabhu?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
I'm 37 now, Prabhu. Yes.
Wow, Shabda is 37. Shabda, I was very fortunate to know Shabda when he came in here briefly for a few years when he was in Dubai working here. He was there with us in the congregation right through, week after week. We enjoyed his kirtans. He's an all-rounder. His mridanga skills were amazing. He could play any instrument, and his kirtans were also amazing. He came unmarried here. He came to Dubai, befriended all of us, and he kidnapped a very beautiful girl from Shamadesh, that is Sukhakar Prabhu's daughter, Vanita, and settled back in Bangalore. Now, he was not an employee type. He was not a type who will just, work 9 to 5. He, as he proclaims very boldly, nobody will dare to say, he proclaims very boldly that he is a college dropout or a school dropout. I don't know what, Shabda can tell me what. But he's
college,
not
yes.
the college, and he's not a graduate, but where he is, how he has molded his own life, how he is in a very, very wonderful way being guided by his parents, by his aunt, uncle, and I know they have all been in the IT industry. He was always attached to technology. Then he moved to Bangalore, and many years ago, he's moved to Chennai now. He lives in Chennai. He is blessed with 2 wonderful boys, Rishabh and
Dhruva.
Rishabh and Dhruva. Rishabh is a more close friend of mine. Dhruv is a recent addition, and I haven't yet done masti with Dhruv, so I don't know his name. But Shabdahari Prabhu is not only a very nice devotee. His parents are amazing devotees, amazing kirtaniyas, good in everything. Sarva guna sampanna. Just the whole family, every member of the family. And so is Shabdahari, very ably supported by Vanita and the boys. And Shabdahari has been largely involved in digital marketing. He set up his own company, and he's been reaching out to thousands of people on the digital media for many years now. And what a perfect time with the lockdown, with coronavirus coming, he's had all the karuna of everybody. And he's also going to give us karuna today, because he was so well equipped with digital preaching that he could immediately open up his bag and give the tools to everybody. The GBC, the SPT of the GBC called him to make a presentation, and he was called by the regional board in India to give a presentation to all the temples, and all the temple presidents and the leaders are attending a 1-month session with him on how to preach. And just the last example that I want to say is just a few days ago, ISKCON Chennai opened up an 18-day course on Bhagavatam, maybe influenced by Shabdahari Prabhu on how to market it. And they thought they're going to get 100 participants in the particular event. And you'll all be surprised, you will fall out of your chair. Are you seated properly? Seatbelts on. He has more than 7,000 people who have registered, not just from Chennai, from all around the world. So, this is the power of digital reach out. Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, wanted us to reach the whole world, every town and village. Lord Chaitanya had indicated that this name of Lord Chaitanya will spread into every town and village. And I think, yes, we thought it will reach the town and village by us having temples and centers everywhere, but sitting where you are, whether you're sitting in Mayapur, you're sitting in Vrindavan, you're sitting in Dubai, or you sit in the remotest village in whichever part of the world you possibly will go and resettle in, we don't know. But you have a capacity to reach out to the whole world. If you have your skills, if you have your capabilities that have been built in, then it's a question of being polished by the able touch of Shabdahari Prabhu, who will then be able to tell us how we can use our capability very nicely, package it very nicely, market it very nicely, and reach it to a wide audience, not just in the place where you belong, to everybody. And you can do your recordings at any time, and people can watch it at any time. And you can imagine how many people, where you possibly are reaching out to 50, 60 people in a congregation. People, now many times my wife says, I feel more comfortable with our Friday programs sitting at home and doing rather than going to the Sindhi hall. I'm now worried how it's going to happen when we restart, whether we are going to take in all the pains to do it. But there's nothing like definitely meeting devotees face to face, just looking at them, even if it may be a few seconds of glance. But here we have the opportunity to see each other and do quite a bit. This session is meant for Shabdahari to preach and reach, but it looks like I'm doing it all. But the point I wanted to say is Shabda is part of Damodadesh. Shabda is our boy. And
Yes,
I'm
Prabhu.
proud to say that Shabda is, as you can go and search for him in the internet as Siddharth Rajshekar. And he's an amazing speaker, a life coach, a digital marketing guru today. And he has done these classes for all the temple presidents. And today I wanted to just have an overview. Now we have all somehow or the other learned all the techniques, right? We didn't know how to go think about GoToMeeting, Zoom meeting. Many of us never tried it before. Okay, so because of this situation, we have come to all of us realize what the capacity of online is. And I think this capacity of online should be molded very well. And that is why I thought we have to patiently hear Shabdahari Prabhu. I'm happy Shabdahari Prabhu today. We have more than 128 people connected on Zoom and maybe a lot more on YouTube, and more will join. Because it is thrown on YouTube, whatever you're going to say is going to get recorded. And so I hope all the leaders of the Middle East are also joined us today. In addition to so many others, we are having this Eid festival and Shravanam festival. We've had already 2 programs today. This is your 3rd program today. And over to you, Shabdahari Prabhu. Please bless us from where you are. Guide us,
Hare Krishna.
hold us. And Shabda is very proud to say that sitting just at his house in front of his computer and his camera, with spending just a few hours every day, he is earning much more than what he would have ever imagined earning sitting in Dubai as an employee or a businessman. This capacity all of us have. Now, we all are in a situation where some of us think that the job situation is a little bit shaky. We don't know what we're going to do. So while this is going to benefit us for our spiritual progress, for us to reach out to more people, this will also benefit us from a personal perspective if we decide to get into any online business, any online coaching. And that said, I have marketed Shabda enough. Shabda, over to you. Your student.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. First of all, want to pay my respectful obeisances to Srivala Prabhu, Nandakumar Prabhu. You have been my Shiksha Gurus on my journey in Krishna consciousness. So thank you so much. All of you can just type Hare Krishna in the comment box, and let's all share our wishes to Srivala Prabhu for being such an amazing leader and inspiring so many of us in Krishna consciousness. Srivala Prabhu, thank you so much. You've been a great inspiration for me, and always you will be. Yes, Prabhu. And so this session is going to be a very we're going to have an very interactive session. So in the next 90 minutes, I've planned up a whole sequence of ideas, a sequence of thoughts on how you can use this particular time and day for exponential preaching. Because as Srivala Prabhu rightly mentioned, every town and village, it's not that we have to travel there, but it is here. It's in this phone. If you actually record a video, you put a podcast, you put any piece of content, it's going to reach out to thousands of people or hundreds of people, depending on the influence that you have. And I want to simplify it as much as possible in the next 90 minutes so that by the end of this 90 minutes, you will be having clarity in what has to be done, how much time you need to spend on this, and how you can connect this to whichever center that you're connected to. So ultimately, you will be doing your own unique preaching online, but ultimately, let's all connect it back to the centers that we are connected to. So I just want to check and see if all of you are excited to learn about this. all of you can just type RTL. RTL is ready to learn. Please have your notepads, pens, papers, whatever you want. Take a lot of notes. And I'm also going to give you like a mind map at the end. And I'm going to share a mind map also as we go through the entire learning process. So thank you all. And I'm going to be asking you all to type different things in the comments like this so that we keep the engagement really high. So there are 12 things that I'm going to cover in the next 90 minutes. The first thing is I'm going to share the objectives. I have two main objectives of this particular presentation. I'll share that with you. Two is I'm going to walk you all through the inspiration behind why digital preaching and why we need to use the principle of like utility is the principle. Srila Prabhupada says like how we can utilize this technology for us to be able to reach out to more and more people. And I also wanted to share that. Number three is I'm going to walk you all through the evolution of media. I'm going to, I did a wonderful session with more than 130 preachers all over India. And we did a brainstorming session on how media has evolved from the days of the past through the 1970s, 80s, 1990s, 2000. And I'm going to share that with you, and how even ISKCON has evolved. Even the preaching evolution has happened from the time of Srila Prabhupada until today and beyond. So I'm going to share that with you. It's going to be a very interesting set of data, which all of you can note down. After that, I'm going to share with you all the attraction factors. What can we keep in mind to attract more people into our movement, and how we need to be mindful of that as we are doing the online preaching. Number 6 is I'm going to give you all a digital strategy, more an individual strategy. We have a different strategy from an organizational perspective. If you're going to be doing it from a temple website or a yatra website, that's a different strategy. But I'm going to give all of you an individual strategy so that it can connect to your yatra. Number 7 is I'm going to walk you all through a preaching funnel. And that's quite interesting on how, even from a business perspective, I always keep teaching funnels. Like how do you take people through the customer journey from the point where they do not know you till the point they're your customers and they refer more customers to you. So that entire thing, I've Christianized the whole thing for our movement. Number 8 is I'm going to walk you all through the different levels of influence. There are different influencers. Even in our movement, we have some very big influencers in the online space who have millions of followers. And I'm going to walk you all through what are the different stages of influence. Number 9 is the 4 stages of growth. Number 10 is what are the best platforms to use for preaching. There are many social networks out there. Sometimes we may also feel overwhelmed. Okay, should we be on every platform? Should we be on one platform? Sometimes as devotees, we also feel it may be too distracting for us. Maybe it is an intrusion in our spiritual life. So we need to be mindful of which platforms to pick and choose so that we know the audience that we are going after. Number 11 is I'm going to give you all a best daily routine. And the routine is going to be, from a digital preaching perspective, not more than 1 hour a day. And if you're happy about that, you can just type Haribol in the comment box. Yeah, we don't want you to spend hours and hours online. We want you to spend more time on your sadhana, on your other activities. But the 1 hour a day that you're going to be spending on the digital preaching, it should be effective. It should be like laser pointed towards the objectives. And it should also add a lot of value where you're able to attract the right kind of audience. And finally, at the end, I'm going to run you all through a 30-day challenge. If you're ready for a challenge, that's coming up towards the end. So based on these learnings, I prepared a challenge where every day it'll be a simple task that I'm going to give you for the next 30 days, which you can go and implement and see the results. And the little bit of the last 3 weeks of activities that we have done with the preachers group, training that we are doing, the digital preachers launchpad, we've set up a group. Some phenomenal results devotees have been getting by using their own different innovative ideas. And I just shared them the different tools on what they can use. So like Amarendra Prabhu and Sukirti Mataji from Chennai, today he was just calling me. I think they reached out, they maxed out on their Zoom account and they were able to reach out to thousands of people doing their 18-day Bhagavad Gita course. So the potential of this media is unlimited if you actually think about it, based on how much of time people are spending on these media. It's just a matter of how to go about it in a very strategic way. So let's start off with the objectives. I'm going to fold this in. And at the end of this, I'll also give you this mind map so you can use it as a refresher. So the 2 objectives are this. First objective is how we can expand the preaching digitally with a unified approach. What do I mean by that is how can each one of you do your own part, but it all unifies back to the yatra. It all unifies back to your local reporting authority so that you can measure the effectiveness of the preaching zone wise. The second part of it is how you can help sustain various projects. I was also watching the recording of the morning lecture Guru Maharaj had spoken, and Shivala Prabhu was talking about so many families in Bangladesh requiring support, so many of our projects now requiring support. And just checking, how many of you feel that even financial support is required for many of our centers to run? You can just type yes in the comment box if you feel so. So one part of the whole activity is to preach and to bring new people into a movement, but the other is how we can help them to support and sustain our various projects. And this is a way on how the strategy I'm going to share with you is to connect both of these, because both of them are important. So let's come to the inspiration. The first inspiration for this was this book, Sri Godruma Kalpatavi by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which was translated by Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. How many of you have read this book? Just type I have in the comment box if you have read this. And when I was going through the commentaries by Guru Maharaj, and even all the different verses, just want to check and see if all of you are able to, type in the comment box. Yes, just checking to see that. Yeah, Sham Prabhu, you can actually keep the comments open. Yes, you can keep the comments open. So we are all marketers of the holy name, and there are different roles that each one can play in the marketplace of the holy name. Some of them are sweepers, some of them are promoters, some of them have to go actively out there. And this particular role, what I'm looking at, digital preaching, is like we are all foot soldiers of Srila Prabhupada. We are on the front end, and we are actually going to be doing the preaching to bring new people coming in. So even from a preaching perspective, you can think about it in different ways. One is the outreach preaching, like how you can use online to get new people in. So you need to adapt in your language, in your positioning, in your skills to really make it attractive. And once they come into the movement and once they are practicing, then there's a different set of preaching that happens over here, which is more to do with nurturing and strengthening one's devotional life. So in different stages, there are different roles to be played. And this was a very inspiring book, which got me on this journey of digital preaching and adapting all of this for digital preaching. And of course, Srila Prabhupada has been the main inspiration, and he has said this: books are the basis, and books will always be the basis. Purity is the force, preaching is the essence, and number 4 is the most important, especially in this media, is utility is the principle. We are going to utilize whatever is there in our power, in our reach, in terms of technology, skills, for us to spread the holy names and to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya and to make people realize what is their true purpose in life. And I think all of this, I was just discussing even with His Grace Rajvilas Prabhu from TOVP. He was saying that all of this now is giving us as devotees a lot of time to get back into Srila Prabhupada's books and to read. And probably this is a preparation to the launch of the golden age, from the time the temple is launched. So this entire coronavirus situation could be a situation that is going to prepare all of us. So now, with all of you getting the tools and the skills, it's important for you all to take this and start preaching online. So let's come to the third point. Evolution of media. Evolution of media, let's start from the beginning. This is quite an interesting thing. Back in the past, we had these kind of media that were used for propagating of the message. So we had oral reception, Shabda Pramana, palm leaves, scrolls, messenger birds. This was back in the day when there was absolutely no technology on how messages were transferred from one place to the other. And then in the 17th century the printing press was introduced, and the first book that was ever printed was the Gutenberg Bible. And I was doing a research on this. And after that, if you see, right through the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, the print was the main media. Because, and if you've by reading our the past of all our acharyas, from that point of time, even from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time, printing of magazines, printing of books, these newsletters, it was the best way to transfer the message. So right from the 1960s, if all of you can remember, if any of you remember in the 1960s, what according to you are the big media during that time? Let's go back to 1960s. If some of you have been around for so long, or if you know what I'm talking about, you can type in the comment box. Let's have some input from all of you. Radio, yes? Harigopal Prabhu, you were there for the previous session as well. I can see that. TV was probably just getting introduced. Let's have all of you type in the comment box. Typewriters. Yes. Movies. Movies were also starting off. Even Disney and all of that. The animation was starting in the 1930s, 1940s. Newspapers, magazines. So it was predominantly print media. So you had radio and television and the printing press. Newspaper, books, magazines. Yes. Now let's move on to 1970s. Yeah, Morse code also was there during the World War time. Morse code. Billboards, outdoor media also was there. Ogilvy and all these big ad agencies were coming out. 1970s. All of you remember these days, if you were in the 70s, LP records, gramophones, postcards, telex, wired telephones, and all of you remember, if you remember the time where you were booking a trunk call and calling someone. Now I was not even born in the 70s, but I've heard parents say that. Yes, we had the telegram and all those days. Now let's come to the 1980s. 1980s was the next evolution of media. We had tape recorders. If you remember the Sony Walkman days, audio cassettes, VHS video. How many of you remember those days? Just type I do in the comment box if you remember those days. And many of us would have our lectures in our cars. I remember, we used to play all kinds of music, audio cassettes. That was the next evolution of media. And then 1990s was the next generation where the computers, the digitization was starting to grow. And we had computers, audio CDs, floppy disks, MP3, Napster, pagers, advertisements, cable TV was growing, Star TV, Star Networks, fax, Messenger, Yahoo Messenger, Hotmail Messenger, and all of these were the new media that came in the 1990s. Yes, how many of you remember this? Just type yes in the comment box. I'm going to ask you, in every section, I'm going to ask you to comment. So I just want to check if you're there. Yes. Okay, so we had 1990s, the next evolution of media. And even during this time, we as preachers, and even ISKCON as a movement, you'd have seen a growth in these media, like CDs started to come, audio cassettes. Devotees would be having their Walkmans and playing their lectures, all of that. Then in the 2000s, it evolved. iPod was launched, mobile phones. The first era of mobile phones was the Nokia generation, and then BlackBerry, and then moved into the iPhone and the smart generation, which is after 2005, 2006. I mean, that transition. Online videos started to get more popular. Blu-ray, DVDs, laptops, SMS, email, Messenger, PDA, Google search. Facebook was launched in 2004, and all the other media, Instagram, all of that started to come. And yes, I did not mention it over here, but 2010 onwards was the rise of social media. Yes, it was always there from 2004 onwards. MySpace was there before that, and then it started to evolve. And then these different platforms, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Quora, blogging. I mean, so many different channels started to open up. And even the reach of people was amazing. Like we saw the rise of influencers also in the next generation. Okay. So in Messenger, we had Skype come in, Zoom, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, WebEx, GoToMeeting, all these different platforms, conferencing platforms also started to emerge. And the smartphones started to get cheaper and cheaper in this era, 2010 era. Video streaming, and all businesses started to move to the cloud. Yes. Are all of you with me till this point? Just type with you in the comment box, just checking. Yes. It's important for us to see how it's moving now. Now let's look at 2020 onwards. And this is what I'm seeing the next 10 years is going to be starting from now. So the focus is going to be on digital content and digital communities. What do I mean by that? Content, if you look at content, video, audio, graphics, these are like the three different media that are predominant. And these media can be represented in multiple ways. Like it can be on multiple platforms. So if you record a video and put it on YouTube, that's one form of media. If you record a short 1-minute video and put it up on Instagram, that's also a media, but it's a short clip. If you're doing motivational quotes or quotes and image quotes, that is one form of media. And under audio, you have like podcasting now. Podcasting is also a big thing right now. And that's also a new age media. And there's one more, which is also text. So we have text will always remain, like most of these article websites, where people are searching for different questions and where they're able to go and read those blog articles. So we have 4 main media that are going to be there. Now, when I say digital communities, Facebook is like one huge community. It's like over 1 billion people on Facebook, more than 2 billion people on Facebook. You look at Instagram also, it's growing. We have new platforms like TikTok and so many others that are emerging right now. But where things are moving is smaller communities, like micro communities. So for example, if you take people who are interested in running, if you go and just search on Facebook for runners groups, you'll find so many groups of people, many groups with not just hundreds, but thousands of people who are interested in just running as a subtopic. And that becomes into a digital community of its own. So one person could be a part of many different digital communities, but the key here is everything's evolving into online communities based on one's interests, based on one's inclinations. So besides this, we're also seeing like new emerging technologies. Some of you who are in the IT field, you would know all of these technologies. And if this is going over your head, don't worry, you can just make a note of this. So everything is moving into voice search. You know, children right now, like I'm seeing Rishabh, 7-8-year-old, he's doing voice search. And many of you are experiencing this even in your own families, where everyone is able to, you know, search for things just by using their voice, using Siri, using voice command. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, where devices can talk with each other, virtual reality, augmented reality, blockchain, speech to text, and things are moving into self-driven cars. And that's also another, there are many other new, emerging technologies that are coming in. So in the next 10 years, you're going to see a world that we have never seen before. And I was also speaking to a few futurists. They're not astrologers, but they look at where companies are going based on a technology growth standpoint. And they were saying, a few of them were saying that the rate at which technology is going to grow in the next 10 years is going to be, at the pace at what has happened in the last 30 years. I mean, it's going to happen much faster. That's what he was saying. And everything is moving now into the gig economy. How many of you do not know what is gig economy? Just type D and K is do not know. Okay, gig economy right now, if you see, especially in the post-corona world, is everyone is moving into micro jobs. Like Uber is an example of a gig economy. So you pay somebody just for the task. Like we don't pay salary for the driver, nor do we own the car, but we just pay that person to go from point A to point B. Now the same thing is happening even in the workforce. We are seeing people who are like, there are many platforms like Upwork.com, Fiverr.com, where anyone can get any work. So it's going to be the rise of freelancers who are going to get paid per task and not necessarily be on the payroll. Okay, so I'm just giving you all like a glimpse of from an overall media perspective, how the world is evolving and how work is also evolving. So now let's come to ISKCON and let's look at the preaching revolution in correlation to what has been shared from here. Yeah. So 1960s to 1980s, can any of you type in the comment box, what do you think were the preaching methods during that era? From when Srila Prabhupada was still present on this planet, what was his main media of outreach and preaching? Yes, letters, books, newspapers, book distribution, street harinams, what is Back to Godhead magazine, kirtans, pandal programs. Wonderful. Yeah, all of you contribute. Just all of you type in the comment box. What do you think? If you remember reading Prabhupada Lilamrita, anything that comes to your mind, you can do that. Interviews, house preaching. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. I made a big list over here. This is a big list. So we have book distribution, magazines, harinam, letters, pandal programs, rath yatras, gift shops, creating new centers, small centers, namahata preaching, bus party, Radha Damodar bus party, prasadam distribution, Sunday love feast, TV interviews, padayatra, restaurants, door-to-door, pamphlets, and concerts. Yes? Was that a big list? All of you just type Haribol in the comment box. Yeah, that was a big list. And if you look at it, I think those initial days of our preachers, they have done so much. I mean, they've gone through so much of pains that now when we look back, it's going to be, I mean, we're in a different world now. Yes, they've gone through so much of pains to get the message across. Then in 1980s to 2000, we saw the next era. Building of temples, namahata, book distribution, bhakti riksha, padayatra, college preaching, all the bays, DYS, Essence of Bhagavad Gita, that format. I think Cooking with Kurma also was quite popular. All these different shows that started to come up. Farm communities, Food for Life, Bhakti Shastri, Varnashrama villages, cow protection, Abhay Charan TV serial, children's classes started to emerge. And I also remember, I think Shivala Prabhu, you would know this, like in Dubai itself, 1980s, late and right through 1990s, it was all those children's programs, those house programs, the Bhakti Vrikshas. That's what really created the communities to come together and the connections, and the preaching was going on in that format. And from 2000 to 2020, we saw the next wave, which is all about expansion of temples, expansion of corporate preaching, expansion of Bhakti Vriksha, expansion of traveling preachers. Preachers would be traveling from one city to the other doing different preaching, college preaching, tribal preaching, prison preaching, retreats, Gita contests, cultural programs, expansion of book distribution, Kirtan Mela, hospitals and hospice, online preaching, Hare Krishna TV, social media, and all the mega influencers from our own movement started to emerge, like the Gaur Gopal Das, Jay Shetty, Vivek Bindras. All these different names started to emerge in the online space because their influence was also growing. And the Woodstock Festival, many apps, we have many of our apps that were also created. And the parikramas also started to get much more popular during this phase from 2000 onwards. The Mayapur parikrama, the Rajamandal parikrama, Puri parikrama, all of these. Yes. Now let's look at the 2020 onwards, is the pivoting point. Right now we can look at this as an old world and a new world. How many of you would like to know what is the difference? Just type Hare Krishna in the comment box. So we are right now at a crossroad, if I should say, on how we need to quickly adapt, because the coronavirus has changed the paradigm of society due to social distancing and many other factors. So let's compare the old world and the new world. And I'm just going to share this with you, and you can just make note of this. The old world was a lot of physical travel. As a preacher, I'm looking more at it as a preacher. But in the new world, we are looking at digital travel. And that's what we are doing right now. We have 205 of you watching live. I'm sitting in Chennai. We have devotees sitting in all different parts of the Middle East. And in your homes, you're comfortable. You don't have to travel. None of that stuff is happening. And even if you have been a preacher who's traveling from one place to the other, I think now it's time to have digital travel as one of your key preaching activities. The second thing is physical congregation and moving into digital congregation. And what we are doing here is something just like that. We are a digital congregation. The old world was more like physical media in terms of books and CDs and all of that. But now we see the younger generation, the millennial generation, they are spending more time on streaming, on ebooks. They are tuning into vedabase.io rather than the physical books. So we'll also have to think about the new generation on what kind of media do they prefer reading on. If they prefer reading on physical books, that's fine. If they prefer reading on digital media, we need to be there on those media as well. And that's why digital media or social media is a faster way to reach out to a lot of people as compared to books. Because sometimes books, depends on the person if they prefer reading books or they prefer reading digital media. So you have to look at that as a new world thinking. The old world idea was to create more physical centers. So expansion of the movement would be more like how many centers do we have? But I think now in the new world thinking should be how we can make every home into a temple, how we can build digital communities like this and introduce new people into it and make every home into a temple. That way, that could also be one of the measures of success of the movement. Number 5, old world thinking is physical fundraising, going from place to place, meeting, big donors, having a relationship with them in the physical world. But now things are moving into digital fundraising. We have seen this iskonfoodrelief.com. I think the website is up. I think a lot of our devotees have been contributing on that online. And there are many other initiatives that are happening where the fundraising is happening completely online. Number 6 is the old world is physical darshan, which will still be there, but we do not know, depending on the situation of especially temples, how much is that social distancing going to be allowed, especially in large, big gatherings. So I think we as an organization also need to be prepared that we may not be able to go back to the old ways until there's some time gap. We do not know how the world is going to come back. So which means digital darshan. Mayapur TV is doing a great job. I think all of us has saw Narsim Chaturdashi completely online, Narsim Abhishekam online. So this is also the next thing, and all temples need to be equipped and geared to also have online darshans. Physical Harinam Sankirtan, going on the streets and doing Kirtan, always loved it. We've always done that, all the Rath Yatras, and I mean, that is always magical. But I think now we'll have to start doing more online. Digital Harinam Sankirtans, digital Japathons. We have Sarvajaya Madha Prabhu who did Japathons with 4,000, 5,000 people. I mean, that was amazing. And we've also seen, I think we had a couple of videos that went viral recently. And if you remember that video, I think 15 million views of one family doing Kirtan together in their homes. I think Jani Mataji, or it is some family in the UK. How many of you remember seeing that video? Yes, got some 15 million views. Just a family doing Kirtan together with their kids, and that went viral. So there is no there's no limits to where things can go in the digital space if you're going to be adapting to this world. So my first question to all of you here is this: how many of you realize that now it is a time for us to also get equipped for the digital age? It is important. If you feel that is important, just type important in the comment box. And the reason I shared all of this with you is to let you all know that we need to adapt now. Yes, we continue some of the old practices that are always there, but we also need to adapt to these changing times. And I think Srila Prabhu and the Damodar Desh congregation were quick to adapt, and this festival is beautiful. Eid festival, and we have so many of you coming together, sitting in the comfort of your homes, and still getting that same association and from wherever you are, from all the different devotees from all over the world. So that's amazing. It's quick to adapt. So now we'll go into the next segment. That we covered the preaching evolution. We covered the evolution of media. The next question would be like, what should you be doing? And for that, let's understand the attraction factors. What do you think brought you into this movement? Type in the comment box. What attracted you to come inside the movement? And just type in the comment box. I want to know. Kirtan, for some of you it is Kirtan. For some of you it is Prasadam. Absolutely. The Khichdi Prasadam especially. For some of you it's the philosophy, the books. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Srila Prabhupada, the association, love, the care. Amazing. Thank you all for sharing. In fact, there are 6 reasons, or the 6 factors. I just put it together. First one is Prasadam, definitely on the top of the list. Then we have Kirtan, philosophy, community, deities, and the service, devotional service. So if you're connected to some devotional service, somebody engaged you in service and you had the taste for that service and you came back to it. Yes. So these are the different factors that can attract even outside people into the movement now. Now, except for Prasadam, I mean, we can do everything else in the digital space, because the Prasadam distribution, there's not going to be a Mahaprasad. They go in there, they have to have their own Prasadam at their homes. But having said that, if you look at all the other, you can do Kirtan online, you can share philosophy online, you can build communities online, you can share deity darshans online, and you can engage people in some form of service also online. It is possible. Yes. And Prasadam distribution also can happen online if you're looking at that angle. So if these are the attraction factors, as a digital preacher, I'm going to give you all a strategy. So whether you are brand new in this, or you have never done this before, or even if you are someone who is like tech challenged, you're averse to technology, I'll make it as simple as possible for all of you. Yes. Wonderful. Let's get into the strategy. I'm going to give you like 5 steps on how this needs to go. Step number 1 is you need to get equipped for digital preaching. You need to get equipped. What do we mean by equipped? It's more in terms of the vision, the mindset, the skill sets, and the tools. So I've actually now shared with all of you the vision of where things are going. Now you need to work with your own mindset. Yes, I can learn these skills. I can learn these tools. It's important. And then just learn a few of these platforms where you can actually go out there and start preaching. And there are multiple tools. I'll share with you some tools also towards the end. So the first step is to get equipped. The second step is to then define your preaching goals. And to make it very simple, I'm going to now give you like 3-4 options on the screen, and I want you to specifically write down and type out what is your goal. So the first point is, how many people, let's look at point by point, okay? You can just type in the comment box. How many people do you want to introduce to the chanting of the holy names this year? Just type a number in the comment box that you personally want to go out there and make them to start chanting. Let's look at that first point here. Okay, some of you are saying 300, 50, 20. Just make note of that. Just make note of that and keep that as the focus. Wonderful. Some of you are saying 200, 108, 25, 10 at least. Whatever. It does not matter how big the number is, but you need to have a number. Yes, how many people do you want to connect to the holy names? That's the first measure. Now let's look at the second point here. How many of you, how many homes would you want to make into temples in the next 1 year? How many homes, like how many families do you want to bring together and make them start to practice our philosophy, practice Krishna consciousness? Yes, 100 homes. Some of you are saying 10 homes, 1 home, at least 5 families. When I say home, I mean families. Yes, amazing. So put that also as a number. Yeah, at least 5, whatever is realistic to you. And the third one is more to do with the leadership. So how many devotees do you want to nurture into serious practitioners who end up taking initiation? So that is something which, you as a yatra leader, you may have to set that goal for yourself. Maybe from this zone, I'm going to have so many of them making the commitment and getting connected to the parampara. So that could be another preaching goal that you can set for yourself. So the second step is whatever may be the number. It's not, like I mentioned, it's not about how big or how small the number is, but it's to set some number and move in that direction. Then we move on to step number 3, is to start building your own digital community. So how do you do this? It can be as simple as even a WhatsApp group. If you're going to be creating a WhatsApp group focused on a particular topic, let's say your preaching is going to be focused on, say, mind control. If that is going to be the topic, on how to help people control their minds better, you can have a mind control group, but you're going to bring spiritual principles, Vedic principles for mind control. And then you give them, different ideas, and then introduce them to the chanting, start to build your community around a theme, around a topic. Step number 4 is then you start to nurture them and preach to them on a weekly basis. You can do an online program. It can happen over Zoom. Even if there are 3 people, that's an online program. Even if there are 5 people, that's an online group. And you can facilitate that group. You can ask them to share. You can read something. You can read Srila Prabhupada books. Or you can even go sequential in Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture that you want. Or even take any book of Srila Prabhupada, Science of Self-Realization. Just go into it and read 1 chapter per week and have a discussion about it. Now that can become a way on how you can nurture that group who's going to be a part of your community. And then step number 5 is how you can connect them to the local temple and center if they happen to be local, and how you can get them to support also locally depending on the location. So these are the 5 steps. Are all of you clear on these 5 steps conceptually? Yes, just type clear in the comment box. So we have to get equipped, define your goals, build community, nurture, and then connect. Yes, this is where that connection is an important part. See, imagine if there are, say, in Damodar Desh itself, if there are, say, 20 different preachers, and if each of you preachers have a community of, say, 20 people, so 20 to 20 is like 400 people, the reach is there, 400, but all of you are connected to Damodar Desh. And in case there is a drive, let's say there is there is some drive where we need to collect funds, maybe for raising, more funds for TOVP construction or something like that. Imagine if you as a micro influencer, you are able to connect that group of yours and say, hey, if you'd be interested, you can contribute to this particular project. Imagine that's the kind of impact that this can have as a yatra together. So it is something that needs to be looked into and measured on a more closer level. But in principle, this is the overall digital preaching strategy. Let's come now to step number 7. Step number 7 is the preaching funnel. I would like all of you to look at this very closely. It's a very simplified version of how this preaching works. So all of you as digital preachers, you can publish podcasts. I'm going to give you all some resources on where you can do that. You can post videos on Facebook. You can go live on Facebook. You can share videos on YouTube. You can provide, you can post on LinkedIn or Instagram. depending on whichever platform you're comfortable with. And you don't have to be everywhere. You can pick even one platform and start to build a community over there, and then start to nurture your groups. As you're nurturing your own digital tribes or your own digital preaching group, then you connect them to the temple, so they are a part of the larger community. So once things open up, and if, let's say, there's going to be festivals, there's going to be a larger group. For example, even if this is one of those initiatives by a yatra, this particular event, all you preachers can start to bring people to a much bigger event. So that way they get exposed to, to the sannyasis, they get exposed to the senior leaders of our movement. And that also gives a great opportunity for them to be nurtured even more. So it can be a temple or a center or whatever is a local, authoritative body. And then you connect them. When I've used love and rupee symbol here is for two reasons. One is you want to give them the taste for chanting, the taste of the holy names, and love for devotional service. And of course, the other element is the contribution angle and how they can give back and how they can, also support all the different projects and initiatives that we have. So overall, this is the flow of how things need to go. And you as a digital preacher, it does not matter how many people you are nurturing. Even if it's 3 or 4 people, you are one of those foot soldiers in the preaching mission of Srila Prabhupada online. So it does not matter on how many people are there, but as long as you are committed to that group, as long as you're nurturing that group and you're meeting once in a week and helping them feel that, that they're cared for, and you give them all those attraction factors minus the prasadam, where the philosophy, the love, the care, the support that they need, answering their questions, they're going to be with you, for a very long time. And they look up to you as a mentor and as a guide on their spiritual journey, especially for the new people. Let's come to step number, the 8th point, which is the digital influence. Anybody here already has more than 500 followers on social media? That means just type me in the comment box. Any one of you have more? Yes. Okay. We have Hari Gopal Prabhu, we have Hari Smita. Wonderful. Some of you already have a large number of followers. That means you're already having some influence. So I'm going to now share with you that there are 5 types of influencers, or the 5 levels, I should call it. Okay. But before I share with you the 5 levels of influencers, there are two kinds of influencers you would find online. You have entertainers and you have educators. You would see this on YouTube, on Instagram. Entertainers are anything who would fall under the category of just pure entertainment. There is no knowledge giving there. So music would fall under that category. If people are just going back and listening to that same song again and again, it would come under the entertainment category. And I'm also seeing my 7-year-old looking at all these random videos on YouTube, and there's absolutely no value in that video, but it's just pure entertainment. But they have like millions of followers, millions of views, many of these gamers, and there's no knowledge value in that. So I'm not talking about that segment. Now, when it comes to educators, those who are giving knowledge on social media, like those who are posting videos, getting on Facebook Live, those who are posting podcasts where they're sharing knowledgeable content. Now that is the influence that I would like all of you to start building your influence on. And for that, there are 2 kinds of content. There is something called a lean forward content, and there's lean backward content. And I'll give you an example. I'm holding my smartphone and I'm leaning forward and I'm endlessly scrolling my phone. I'm seeing a 30-second video, 40-second video, spending time on WhatsApp, just browsing, swiping. Now this is all what I call as the lean forward content. It is like snacking on digital media. And snacking on digital media is like eating fast food, which is not good for the health. And it's not good for our devotional life also. Okay, so I've just done some thought behind this. So the other format of content is lean backward content. For example, right now, all of you are leaning back and you're spending the next 90 minutes with full focused learning. That's happening over here. So that is a good way to position yourself in the online space, where you're not just putting like 1 minute, 2 minute videos, which is like eating snacks, but you are putting at least 5, 10, 15 minute videos and you're going deep into subject matters. Maybe you're taking just a topic like, I don't know, it can be say Ajamila story. Okay, just go explain the story. And then you go on for like 10, 15 minutes, even 20 minutes. And then you share the lessons learned, and then you can share the references. And now that becomes a digital asset. It'll be something that will be working 24/7, and it does not matter how many people are going to watch that video. Even if there are like even 10 people have watched that video, but who have watched it till the end, they are a much better quality prospect, if I should call it, for your preaching efforts. How many of you are with me till this point? Just type with you in the comment box. Yes. So we as preachers, we need to start building more content pieces of substance. And when I say substance, I mean, we have like a treasure house of knowledge. It's just a matter of how we are going to be bringing it out in a consistent way, which can attract the audience. And if you are an influencer with a lot of deep content, then lean backward content. Like you go on Facebook Live for 15 minutes. If you're sharing a video, you go on for 10 minutes at least. Then the quality of your audience will be better. Otherwise, people are just swiping, and they're just jumping, from one to the other. And it's like fast food versus eating a wholesome meal. Yeah. So having said that, here are the different kinds of influencers. There are 5 stages of influencers. Now, if you're nurturing a tribe of between 1 to 100 in your own group, I'm talking about close group. I'm not talking about number of likes or fans or followers that you have. That number can be anything. But the number of people who are coming regularly to you on a weekly basis where you're nurturing them, if it's between 1 to 100, you're a micro influencer. If you're between 100 to 500, you're a mini influencer. If you have between 500 to 5,000, you're a medium influencer. And then you have from 5,000 to a lakh, I would call you as a large influencer, and you have mega influencers where you're having more than 1 lakh, running even to millions of followers and things like that. But if you're able to pull so many number of people through your content. Now, the initiative or the goal of digital preaching is not to become a mega influencer or large influencer or medium influencer. I'm just going to ask you all one question. If 229 of you who are watching this are able to take this and even create your own micro influence of even 50, 60, people that you're nurturing on your own, do you think we can make a big difference as an organization? That's my question to you. Yes, just type in the comment box. If 228 of you are able to even nurture a small group of even 50 people, but we do all of this on our own ways, do you think we'll be able to make a big difference to our organization? And that is the intention of this particular presentation also, is to help each one of you to first become a micro influencer. And even if you become a mini influencer, that's more than enough. If you're able to nurture 100 to 500 people in your own digital tribe, where you're able to nurture them, you're able to know where they are in their spiritual life, and are able to take them, I think as an organization, we can reach out to millions. We can reach out to millions because we have so many members in our organization, and they just need that direction now on how to go about this. Yes? Does this make sense? All of you just type Hare Krishna in the comment box, because yes, have set that intention. It is not that you have to become a mega influencer like the Gaur Gopal Das or anyone like that. It does not have to be that. Just whoever you're nurturing, give them a great experience. Give them a great, reason for them to practice this philosophy. Yeah. Now let's come to the 9th point here, which is there are 4 stages of growth. And I've taken these ideas from the business world and I've adapted this for our movement over here. Now, if you look at any business, they go through 4 stages. Like if I have to get more customers for my business, and many of you here are business owners, in Dubai, these are the 4 stages. First, you need to expose, you need to give exposure for your business in terms of your marketing, advertising, all of that. Then what happens is you would get your customers, then you nurture those customers, give them a great experience, and then you empower them. So in the case of customers, maybe not empowering them, but usually what ends up happening is your customers end up referring more customers to you, and that's how it grows. Now let's look at it from a preaching perspective. These are the 4 stages. You first expose, nurture, empower, and then expand. So in the old world methods, our exposure used to happen in all these different ways. Book distribution, prasadam distribution, Sunday love feast or Friday programs, temple festivals, free workshops, outreach programs, Nagar Sankirtans. And of course, Rath Yatras and the mega festivals also would be included. That would give us a lot of outreach and exposure. So a lot of new people would be collecting database, Nagar Sankirtan, going from shop to shop, we have done all of this, during the preaching activities in the past. Yeah. I'm just going to remove this annotation. Yes. So exposure. Then the next stage is then we would nurture them. We would connect them either to a detailed workshop, or we would have regular house programs that is happening. And the goal is how we can get them to start chanting from 1 round, 2 rounds, 4 rounds, 8 rounds, 16 rounds. And that's their progression. And then once they see serious practitioners, they get connected and they get initiated and so on. So that is before the nurturing part. Yeah. So nurturing is the part before that. And then empower is where the connection happens with the parampara. They get the first initiation. They're committed practitioners. They're performing devotional service, deity worship at home. All the principles of our philosophy is happening. And then stage number 4 is the expansion. In the offline world, if you look at it, is where the senior leaders and sannyasis, they lead the leaders, and the leaders in turn, they lead respective departments. And then the preachers, they lead the devotees. So there is a structure to how the organization is running. You would have like the GBC is leading, the different the leaders, and the leaders lead the departments or the yatra leaders. And then under each yatra, each of the leaders or the temple presidents would have their own departments to run this organization. So this is the old method, if I have to put it into exposure, nurture, empower, and expand. And the expansion stage this is where the leaders discuss on new ideas, new strategies, how we can expand it even more. And there would be reporting happening at different levels. So the leading devotees would report to the preachers. The preachers would report to their temple presidents. The temple presidents would report to the spiritual masters and the GBC. So this is the structure. If you look at the New World method, the structure will still remain the same in reporting, but here is the digital preaching methodology. Stage 1 is exposure. So just type in the comment box, according to you, what is the best way to get a lot of exposure online? If you're going to do digital preaching, let's have some of you type in the comment box. What is the best format to get more exposure? Okay, Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, online programs. Okay, all of you got into the groove now. Yes. So exposure is going to be through digital content. You're going to use content as the tool to bring people in. Yes. So how you're going to use content is where the goal is where you can reach every town and village digitally using content marketing. You can do online webinars and online conferences also. And I'll give you, like, this is a classic example of an online conference. Like it's a multi-speaker conference, and and the message has been shared with multiple devotees all over, and all of you are tuning in here live. Yes. So we did a conference recently in here. I mean, it was an online conference. We called it the Digital Masters Conference. It was there. We did it with the 9 digital marketing experts in India. So 9 of us came together, and we did a full-fledged conference on. Okay, just ignore those drawings in the side. I think some of you, Sham Prabhu, just check in the back end to see who's doing that. Okay. So we had a conference where we had over 3,000 people tuning in live from Zoom. And these people were from all over India. And all 9 of us, we had like a 20-minute slot. And it was a 6-hour conference. We started at 4 p.m. and we finished at 10 p.m. in the night, 6 hours. And the beauty about this, in this conference, what ended up happening was there were 3,000 people who were staying right through the 6 hours. And we used a hashtag during this conference. And we wanted to raise funds for the Corona PM Cares Fund. We raised around more than 6 lakh rupees within 6 hours for that particular initiative. And in the overall India Twitter trends, we were trending top 5, because we asked everyone, after every segment, we asked people to share what was your key learning and takeaways. We asked them to share it live on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. So imagine 3,000 people sharing their learnings live on social media while the event was going on. And at any given point of time, there were at least 2,500 people coming in and going. But I'm just proposing this idea here. How many of you feel that if we do some of our major festivals, right now there are 218 people, but let's say we have a multi-speaker, like all our sannyasis doing, maybe the next Janmashtami festival can happen, like maybe an online version with just 3 hours, 4 hours, multi-speaker. We have even 10,000. Like if all of us unify the entire country or all the yatras coming together for a big multi-speaker event, And imagine if all 10,000 devotees are sharing on social media their learnings and their experiences using hashtags. How many of you feel that this will have an impact? Just type impact in the comment box. I'm just telling that is a scale at which we can go. And I saw this, experienced this firsthand when we did that for the first time ever in India. We did like a 3,000 member online, completely online conference, and with 9 different speakers coming together. So these are some of the ideas. And we are I'm also discussing with Yudhishthir Govind Prabhu, Anuttama Prabhu, and a few others on how even that can happen at a global level as well. So there is no end to the kind of reach and impact that it can have if we all unify in the approach. So that comes under exposure. The second stage is nurturing. How do we nurture them from here on? That will happen through digital communities. Okay, and the goal of this is how we can get more people to chant the holy names, how we can introduce people to the chanting of the holy names. And this can happen, I mean, this is mainly for people to increase their faith, to increase their rounds, and to increase their philosophical understanding of our scriptures. And this can only happen through online meetings. Like I mentioned before, 1 weekly online class that you drive forward independently yourself. And number 3 is the empowering part. So as they are actually going through this, the empowering part is more to identify the committed practitioners, where every home becomes into a temple and connecting them to the parampara. So initiation and every home becoming into a temple would be more like giving them all the knowledge, and as well as the reason why they need to maybe set up their own altar at home, offering boga, family doing kirtan together, family reading together. All of this, it becomes into a system. So every home becomes into a temple, and you're able to transform that entire family, one family at a time. And then stage 4 is to expand. And the expansion can happen through digital leadership. So it is equipping, the goal is to train the leaders, like many of you who are already preachers, to equip yourself with new knowledge, new skills. And every leader in our organization needs to be having basic knowledge about digital marketing, digital administration, digital facilitation, and digital fundraising. If all of these 4 skills are there, then it becomes very easy to make those decisions, and also to build teams who can support on many of those activities. So how many of you feel that this makes sense from a new world method? Yes, just type make sense or MS in the comment box. This entire stage over here. So it is not that the old world method will not be there, but it won't be to the extent that it was. But we'll have to now start riding more on this and have multiple festivals like this, multiple online festivals, and if it can be a unified approach where multiple congregations can come together or multiple temples can come together and do this, then the numbers can go to a whole different level altogether. Yes. So let's come to the next part. We are right now on stage number 9. We just have one more, and we've got like 3 more points over here. By the way, just checking, how many of you are able to, you're finding this information very practical and useful? Yes. Do you think it's doable for you? Just checking. I hope it's not going over your head. Yes, thank you. Just checking. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yes. So now let's talk about what are the best platforms. Like, where can we spend our energy and time for us to make this very effective? Yeah. The number 1 platform is Facebook. If you ask me, Facebook is a good platform to start off with, because even the kind of people who are engaging on Facebook, maybe it is not as engaging as before as compared to Instagram and other platforms, but it is definitely a major platform to be on. So what you can do is you can update your Facebook profile. If you don't have a profile, just set it up. And my request to all of you here is this: please put your own pictures on your Facebook profile. I see mostly deity pictures, Srila Prabhupada pictures, or spiritual master pictures. I understand, but when you are going out there as a digital preacher, it's very important for people to look at your face and for them to connect with you as a person. Yes? All of you noted that? Just type noted in the comment box. Please go and do that. Because when you're posting a video or a content, they need to connect with you. It's a human-to-human connection that's happening even in the virtual world. Yes? Then the second part about Facebook is groups. This is what I would like all of you to start creating. In fact, I'll be showing you all towards the end the 30-day challenge. I have a pre-recorded course that all of you can go through. And you can create your own Facebook group around your topic. And the Facebook page is the third one, which I would not recommend for all of you when you're starting off. If you're just starting off as a digital preacher, just go with your profile and your group. And in case you already have your other profile, let's say I have my Siddhartha Rajshekar profile, which is different, and I have a Shabdahari Das profile, which is different. I wanted to segregate these two. So in case you want to set up a separate devotee profile with your initiated name, that's also fine, because that you can use for preaching. You can start to build a different network over there, and this can be different for your official and for your other, activities. So you can take that call. The page is better for brands. The page will work well for a yatra. For example, if it's going to, for example, ISKCON Delhi has one of the biggest pages, and they're using that page for posting various announcements, running advertisements, and all of that. So pages are better for brands. It's better for the organizational level, but a profile in a group is better for individual level. Okay. So Facebook is the first platform, the recommended platform. YouTube is the second priority platform. Please type in the comment box, why do you think YouTube is the next priority? I've not mentioned Instagram. I've not mentioned Twitter. Yes. All of you type in the comment box. It's videos. Okay. I want to have different perspectives. Yeah. Easy to access. It's well known. It's the most popular. It's the most consumed media. Okay. There's no app required. There's more convenience, attractions. It's free, can be repeated. Okay. I'll give all of you the answer, and all of you can note this down. YouTube is the largest search engine in the world. In fact, most of us, we don't even type on Google that much. We go and type on YouTube. It is the number one search engine in the world. So if you can title your videos where you are addressing specific questions. So maybe a question could be like, when was Lord Rama born? Okay, if that is the question, imagine if you are going to be having a video, talking about where you have those specific tags, what will end up happening is you will start to show up on all of the search results. Facebook and Instagram and other platforms, the videos get lost in the news feed. But on YouTube, even if you have posted a video 2 years back or 3 years back, if you have optimized that video well, it can still be found today. All of you clear on this? Just type got it in the comment box. So YouTube is a long-term educational platform, and YouTube's goal is to replace television, and they're doing a great job at that. The young generation, I mean, the toddlers and anyone, many of you parents, you know what I'm talking about. Kids don't like to watch TV. They are more on YouTube. In fact, YouTube has a YouTube Kids app right now, where all the kids can spend more time over there. And this generation here, there's some analysis I was reading. If YouTube were going to launch any other product in the future, 20 years, 25 years from now, this generation will buy that product because they're already tuned into it right from the start. So I'm just telling all of you that YouTube is the long-term channel. And since we are educators, we are not entertainers, it's a great platform to be on. You can do live streaming on YouTube, and you can post videos on YouTube. And don't post 2-3 minute videos on YouTube. Keep it at least 5 minutes and above, because YouTube is measuring your average view duration. So the more time people spends on YouTube, YouTube will give you the higher visibility on that platform. Then third priority platform is podcasts. How many of you tune into other podcasts? Are you familiar with this? Just type yes. If you're not familiar with podcasts, just type no. Okay. Interesting. A lot of no's, very few yeses I can see here. Now, the beauty about our movement is audio has been the DNA of our movement. Like, we are very used to listening to lectures. We are very used to listening to audio. That's most of the Shravanam happens in the form of lectures. But many people do not know, many of the devotees in the movement, they do not know that rather than putting the lectures just on our own internal networks, yes, putting it on a few podcasting networks can give you much more reach. Yes. And by the way, podcast is not outdated. I just want to tell Purushottam Prabhu here, some of the biggest influencers in the world, are podcasters.
Shabdahari Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Shabdahari Prabhu, sorry, I just wanted to quickly interrupt you. Prabhu,
Yes.
if you can just stop sharing your screen for just 5 seconds, then I can disable the annotation.
Okay, please do that. Yeah, I've stopped sharing my screen. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, for
Just
letting me know.
sorry about that. Just for those who are maybe by mistake selecting the option, please do not annotate on the screen. That means everyone can see a particular drawing. So I would
Yes.
request that.
Child is doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Stop.
Okay. All right. All right. Prabhu, all yours again.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. So when it comes to podcasts, I just want to tell all of you that video is a dual sensory activity. That means we need to engage our our eyes and our ears at the same time for us to engage on videos. But in podcasts, it's like people, even during their downtime, when they're walking, when they're driving, just like when we listen to lectures when we are traveling from one place to the other. It is single sensory media, and you can actually go much more in depth in terms of content and sharing. So I'm going to now share with you. I will share my screen right now. Okay, I'm going to share with all of you a very powerful resource where all of you can go and share your podcasts. Do you guys want to know? Do you all want to know what it is? You can just type "show me" in the comment box, and I'm going to show something very, very powerful. Yes. So that is a website called Anchor.fm. This is a platform where you can set up your own podcasts for free, and just click on Make Podcast. And this tool, you can actually directly record a podcast inside it. They have a mobile app. And the best part is this podcast can be broadcasted into multiple networks. I'll just show you an example of the podcast that I have, and I'll show you the dashboard. I'll just show you my dashboard so you'll be able to see. So I have my business podcast, and on my dashboard, I can see all the statistics. And for example, this particular podcast has been, I can see that it's been played 55,000 times. People have listened to my podcast. I'll also know which episodes are doing well by looking at which titles are doing very well. And I'll also be able to see which countries are the podcasts being played on. So I can actually measure. Right now, most of my audience in this podcast are India-based. And I'll also be able to track things like their gender and their age group and things like that. And the beauty about this podcast is once you set up a free account on Anchor.fm, I'll just show you my public profile and show you where all these podcasts can be updated. Yeah, I'm just going to click on public site. So right now, whenever I publish a podcast, it goes on Apple Podcasts, it goes on Breaker, on Castbox, Google Podcasts. This tool will automatically push it, including Spotify, Stitcher. So as long as you come up with some very good titles, and you don't need to have an audience. It does not have to be like a lecture format where somebody's sitting in front of you and you're giving a lecture, but you can even record this podcast on the move. It's as simple as going and clicking on new episode. You can record your podcast straight into this browser that you see here. You can add music. They have some background music and all those options over here. Set the title, publish. And once you publish, you'll see all the episodes over here. I'll just show you some of the episodes that I've launched. It'll give you statistics. Which episode, when was it published? What was the duration, length of the episode, and how many plays that it has had. Now, if you want, you can go deeper and see, data about the episode. So I'm just going to ask all of you here, how many of you feel that this will be very, very useful as a digital preacher? Just type useful in the comment box. And this is not going to take you much time. You don't have to be technically, very knowledgeable. Just download the Anchor app. You can directly record your podcast on your phone, 10, 15 minutes. And once you have done it, it'll give you a link. You can copy the link and you can share this link on Facebook, share it on Twitter, on all the different social media platforms. And then what you can do is at the end of the podcast, you can link people back to your group. Whatever, it can be a WhatsApp group, Facebook group, any group. Initially, you may not have that many views, but start getting into the habit of doing podcasts. This is also a powerful media. The next one is you can go on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more a professional network. So if your outlook is more towards corporate preaching and you want to project yourself as a something on the, like I have a few of our devotees who are creating now courses on on sutras from business, like business lessons from Vedic scripture, something like that, like leadership lessons from the Gita. Like we have so many of those concepts. So if your target audience are corporate professionals and decision makers, then you can look at LinkedIn as a platform. But pretty much the same activities. You post videos, you post content, you post articles and all of that. And finally, number 5 is Instagram. Instagram is more for the younger generation, the millennial generation. Of course, everybody's on Instagram, and Instagram is more of lean forward content. And if you're catering to the youth, you want to do youth preaching, you want to cater to the younger generation, then that's a better platform to be on. You got to use a lot of hashtags and get more active and connect people back. But in any case, whichever platform that you're going to be using, the flow should be that you post all these different content, then they come into your group, either WhatsApp group or a Facebook group or even a Telegram group. Even that's a very good platform. And then you nurture that group to come for your weekly classes or your weekly sessions. So these are the best platforms that you can use. Number 11 is the best daily routine. How many of you would like to know what is the best routine? Yes, just type Hare Krishna in the comment box. We are coming to the most practical part of this session. Yes, I'm just going to keep you all.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry
Yes,
to
Shyam
interrupt
Prabhu.
you. Prabhu, just wanted to ask one question on behalf, I'm guessing, of all the viewers. Is now when we're talking about best platform, maybe you're going to cover it later on, but I wanted to cover sensitivity. So how can we make sure we have some privacy settings, especially on platforms like Facebook, where we have a
Yes.
limited crowd, especially because we are in a sensitive place like the Middle East. We need to be
Right.
careful as to how open we want to be, So how do we
True.
make sure we're protecting ourselves that way? How do we use groups more than pages, for example? So some of these
Yes.
aspects, if you can elaborate on, I think would be very useful for us also.
Definitely, Prabhu. That's a very apt question also for the region that all of you are in. So I will share that. I'll give you some examples after I cover this segment. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. So the best daily routine would be this. So you can start off, you can break it into your internal game and external game. So internal game definitely is your non-negotiable daily sadhana, daily learning for 1 hour, listening to Srila Prabhupada, maybe writing your goals, like whatever goals that you have set. You want to reach out to 100 families. You want to reach out to so many, introduce so many people to the holy names. So maybe write down that particular goal on a daily basis on what exactly is the purpose of your preaching activities. Like what is that thing that you want to achieve from an individual perspective. And then when it comes to externally, these are the 4 main activities. So you can post on a daily basis, 30 minutes per day. If you're going to do a podcast or a video, or it can be even an article. Daily nurturing, I'm just keeping 30 minutes on the top side. So whatever inquiries come in, you can chat with people, message with people, bring them into your group. Then you keep your weekly meeting as 90 minutes. It can be a 90-minute format. You can create a structure for that, like how this is a 90-minute segment over here. So even you can plan something on those lines. And then you spend 30 minutes a month just to track everything. Like how many meetings have you had? How many posts you have done? How many people have attended those meetings? And from those meetings, how many have actually ended up taking up chanting on a serious note? So you can actually keep a tracker for yourself. And this is something that you can share with your local authority, saying that, okay, this month I've done all these different things, and that has actually helped me, has helped grow the community. And we have seen this happen, I think, the last 3-4 weeks in the Digital Preachers Launchpad. I think a group in Delhi were able to build a community of 300 to 400 people within 2 weeks. And now they're nurturing them, and each of them are going about in different ways of preaching. So now I'll address the question on how do you do this in a very, in a subtle way, where it is not really affecting the overall, which is affecting the organization, and it has to be in a way which is very attractive also. Yes. So I just want to share with you something which I did not plan for this session, but I'll anyway share with you this mind map which I did with other preachers on the stages that are actually, let me share this with you. I think I shared this in the first one. Yes. There are actually 5 steps to do this in a non-intrusive way. And if all of you want to see this, all of you can just type Haribol in the comment box once more, just to keep the curiosity alive. Okay. So these are the steps. so that it does not affect the organization, and it also makes it very attractive. So the first step is you need to decide who is your target market. Like if you're going to go outside preaching on the digital world, you need to know exactly who you want to serve. In the sense, like these are the different categories of people. Do you want to focus on youth or businessmen or corporate professionals or teachers or children, government officials, students, women, parents, interfaith, professors, lawyers, doctors, senior citizens, middle-aged, teenagers? You have to decide on who is that, what is that segment that you want to serve. Yeah? And we made a list of all of this during our the session that we did. Once you know who's that target group that you want to serve, so if in case you want to work only with children, then the whole approach will change. If you want to work only with women, the approach will change. If you want to work only with working professionals, again, the whole approach will change. The second step is to then narrow down on your niche or topic. Because in our scripture, the topics are really wide. It can go from, everything is covered under our scripture. But for you to be an effective preacher, you need to pick one area that you're known for and go deep into that area. For example, I'll give you many topics. You can either go scripture based, like in the case of Sukirti Mataji, Amarendra Prabhu, they're going as a Bhagavad Gita class. So they're doing a Bhagavad Gita based study group. You can go scripture based, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ramayana, Mahabharata. Or you can go topic based, mind control, moral values, varnashrama, cow protection, relationships, karma, married life, deity worship, temples, prasadam. There are many, many topics that you can actually go deep into, but the narrower you go, the better it is. So for example, imagine you're going to create a group on, say, cow protection. So that can be the Facebook group. And then the third step is this is what we made all the preachers do, is they came up with 10 themes under cow protection itself. So what are the 10 themes? Cow care, cow products, cow economy, cow worship, cow benefits, how curing diseases, history of the cow, symbiosity, spiritual culture, different breeds of cows. Now you just take cow itself, there are so many subcategories. And then what I made them do is, under each of these, made them generate 100 questions. That means each theme would have 10 questions. 10 questions on care, 10 questions on products, 10 questions on economy, 10 questions on worship. And those become the content pieces that you post online. So it could be like how cow can cure dash disease, whatever disease. And that could be a video on that. Now it is not directly Krishna consciousness or not directly introducing to the holy name, but you're going to be bringing them into a piece of content that they're searching for. And then at the end of the video, you can say, join this Facebook group, which is like, we can call it like Mother Cow or something like that. That's the name of the Facebook group, or the Power of the Cow. And they all come and join that group. And there's a lot of discussions happening. And imagine once in a week, you have exclusive session, 90-minute session, just on this topic. And you can, and of course, at the end of it, you can always connect it to the chanting. You can talk about the scripture, the connections, and get them to read. So there are the point here, what I'm trying to make is to make this whole initiative non-intrusive in such a way that it is really adding value to people. It is very important that each one of you are able to identify your target market and know exactly what is that theme that you're going to be focusing on. Now, I just want to check with all of you. Does this make sense? You can just type "make sense" in the comment box. Because if all of us are trying to do everything, it will create a distortion in the marketplace. What I mean by that is that people will not know you for one thing. It's like a general practitioner of medicine versus neurosurgeon. Neurosurgeon is an expert and specialist in one thing, and people are ready to listen to that specialist. If he's going to be specialist in that particular topic. So same applies even to this. If you're able to find that, like now we have Nandu Prabhu who's doing the Ramayana classes, like focused only on that, and I've been having an interaction engagement with them. And we've also bought a domain now called Essence of Ramayana, and that's the brand now. So it's only going to be focused, going deep into Ramayana, and that becomes very attractive. So all those are inclined to Ramayana will join that Essence of Ramayana group, and then they start to come in. And now I think Dhruva Prabhu and other group, they are actually now churning out a lot of questions now on different themes and topics. And those are the questions which will be answered in the social media world to eventually get people to that group, to get them registered on that on the platform, and for them to attend the Thursday class and the Thursday session where Nandu Prabhu goes deeper into that. So the same thing can be applied to any topic. And step 5 would be to create the community, give a community name, create a Facebook group, create a Telegram group, WhatsApp group. So that is the flow of activities. So I hope I have answered that question. The key here is to lead with value, or to make people realize, or to answer the questions that people actually have. Okay, I'll give you a very simple example on this. I'll just go to Google and I'll search for, I'm just going to search for benefits of cow. I'm just going to type benefits of cow. And all of you may not have noticed this, but you can do this. Just go and type, what was your topic? Okay, what was your topic? I'm just giving the cow topic here, for example, benefits of cow. And I'm going to scroll right down, and you see Google has given many more suggestions. Benefits of cow milk, benefits of cow urine, Indian cow benefits, benefits of cow milk for babies, benefits of cow dung. Now, I've just put benefits of cow, but there are so many other suggestions that are coming in. Now, if you as a digital preacher, and if you are preaching around this particular topic of cow, imagine you take all of these questions, sit one day and make a list of all of these points. And then when you start to create videos and start to create content, again, with scriptural references, then it becomes even more attractive, because this is what people are searching for. And if you can match it with what people are searching for and connect it with our scriptural references, then it becomes into a value-based approach rather than like a head-on preaching-based approach. So we need to be very mindful that the way that we preach, the language that we use for the new world, not new world, I would say for the new people who still are not into our lifestyle or the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, we need to use some of the words that they're able to resonate with. And then once they come into our world, we have our own our devotee vocabulary here. So that also we need to keep in mind, that the vocabulary also we need to be matching with the audience, and even language. Now, if you look at vernacular languages, it's much more than regular languages. Like, people are preferring watching videos in Hindi, in Tamil, in Telugu. So it does not matter what language that you are comfortable with. Better you do other languages than just English. So on that note, I just want to tell all of you that we have come to the end of this segment. I want to thank each and every one of you. And I want all of you to note down this particular link, which I've created for all of you, which is a 30-day challenge. You can go and register on thedigitalpreacher.com. I'll just give you a quick glimpse of how it is. It's a 30-day challenge. You just need to go through the videos, and you'll also get a certificate from ISKCON, Anuttama Prabhu signed certificate if you complete all the 30 days. And every day you're going to be getting one video. Yes, you'll be getting one video, and I'll give you an action point. So you can note down this link. You can do this later. And I also have a link to today's mind map for all of you to refresh this knowledge. And I'll just put this in the chat box so all of you can access it later. And even Sham Prabhu, I'll just paste it here. You can even email it to everyone just to refresh whatever has been shared today. So before I close, I just want to thank Srivala Prabhu. I want to thank all the organizers of this amazing festival that you've put together. And I want to thank each and every one of you, all the devotees. And if you have to reach out to me, just let me know if you need any help and support on digital preaching. And I think this is that one activity which can make a big difference if all of you just take it up. And even if it's going to take time, if it's going to take 1 month or 2 months or even 3 months to get your skills up and running, I think together we can make a big difference. Thank you. Srivala Prabhu, over to you. Back to you, Prabhu.
Okay. So thank you very much, Shabdahari Prabhu. I think this is a very good overview. And I think we all need to look at this. I think you would suggest for us, all of us, to get into the challenge for 30 days. Many more questions will be answered, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's number one. We would need, definitely keeping in mind the sensitivity of the region, we need to be extremely careful not to, when we talk of interfaith, how to use it properly, how, as we talk about reaching out to people of other faith, because on this sort of a social media, very easily people of other faith come in. So we need to be very careful that we don't give wrong information and we don't lead them to others and something that can stop or impact the entire yatra. Now,
yes,
I think the entire view of the yatra and the hierarchy in the yatra, digital leaders, my son was saying DTP, digital temple presidents, the influencers will start playing important role. So it is a threat sometimes to the yatra leaders, the temple presidents sometimes, right? I'm just making a mention. So I think we need to have a structure also as to how, what, who will do what, in what forum, who will be those who would be nurturers, who can then gradually move on to becoming preachers in the forum. I think we need to have some sort of a structure that gets built on the digital platform. Otherwise, we will have upstartish everybody who will pick up and try to do so many different things without being properly geared up for the difficulties that we may face in the region. If it was anywhere else, it's different, but in this particular region, actually, the COVID situation has thrown open and made us all bold at this stage, because in this part of the world, we were never getting on to the social media, big programs. We were very, very worried about posting it on Facebook, etc., because we just, these are big programs that we do, permissions taken properly, not, but then the activity that we do is, as we all know, without specifying it in the full words, it is risky to broadcast what we do as a big program. But sitting in the safety of our homes, I felt nobody can stop us in whatever we do in terms of reaching, because we are doing either a one-to-one or we are talking and we are reaching out to people, and the people who participate are coming from various houses, not congregating in any one big place. So there's a lot of, I think, culture change that needs to happen in all of us. And I think all of us will need some coaching on how to have a proper Facebook presence. What do we like? Which areas we want to focus on? I personally need a lot of training to get into it and completely revamp my entire profile. And I think each of us will need to see how, and I think I would need to personally work, taking your advice on helping many of our leaders in upgrading their profile, how to gradually train them. And I think I would really request every one of you to get in on that, the digital platform that Shabdahari Prabhu has indicated, preacher's course. I think we need to all do it over 30 days. Can you say roughly how long is it per day that somebody has to invest in that session?
30 minutes per day, Prabhu. I've kept it very self-paced. And if they can allocate 30 minutes per day, they can complete the task for the day. Yes.
So it's 30 days. It's one video for 30 minutes. And then there is some homework or some activity that everybody needs to do.
Yes. It's just what they have to do for that day. That's it. And that's all pre-programmed. So every day it will keep opening up from the time they register for 30 days.
Okay, very good. So I would really encourage every one of you to really log in. And in fact, what I want to do is, along with all the leaders in the Middle East, I would like every leader to be able to participate in it. And we can have something that's slightly customized for our leaders, knowing the sensitive region in which we are in. And we then need to carefully get in people. If somebody is from another faith, we need to be very careful as to how to handle discussions to them before pulling them into a bigger group, where sometimes, without the sensitivity, some mentions may be made. So I think we need to have some rules and regulations that are unique, more unique than what anybody else can do in any other part of the world. So with that, I would suggest that, let's work towards forming a smaller group. And based on how many of you do the digital 30-day session, I would possibly start getting you into a strategy group. Okay, that shows first your enthusiasm to do it. And based on that, we will form a group with which we will be able to develop, train, and request the presence of Shabdahari Prabhu. Now, Shabdahari Prabhu is a very, very busy man. He hardly has any time, more so now that online digital marketing is expanded. I don't want a situation where everybody is just queuing up and calling him up and troubling him. Okay? Put your questions on, put your thoughts, let's channel it through so that, the same question that you have, hundreds more have. So we'll be able to collate them and organize it through a particular channel in which, we will pull him in frequently so that he can guide us through. That will be better than each one reaching out. However, I'm giving you one other mention here, that Shabdahari Prabhu, similarly like this 30-day challenge, he likes 30 days for whatever be the reason. So he also does a lot of 30-day challenges. Shabda, this particular initiative post-COVID is for preaching, right? I think we had some sessions with him in the past, but we never took it seriously. Now's the time for all of us to take this seriously. But then, all I wanted to say is this is something that we all need to look at as an opportunity for us to grow our presence, thoughts of new business, thoughts of passive income, thoughts about how we can use our capabilities and encash upon it in some cases. While here we are talking about preaching, Srila Prabhupada's movement, and all of this is FOC, though there is some digital ways of collecting for the higher costs, not for us. But if some of you would like to get into some businesses that are focused on online, that are focused on your capabilities to give, whether it's a physical product that you want to do a digital marketing, or whether you want to give some capability or some expertise of yours to others and you want to monetize it. I think he's got a complete separate channel. He's got a whole scheme as to how he takes people through on a silver membership and a gold membership and a platinum membership, and it's very inexpensive. It is not very costly at all. I would say that people who may want to think about it, knowing that you have to develop a passive income sometimes, or knowing that you may have to change your entire field to get onto it, you can also connect on, go into his website. I'll tell Shyam to also share that link so people can go ahead and register. Okay? I'm not getting any commission from Shabdahari for this. And but I will definitely get commission if you all become wonderful digital preachers. Yeah. Because whoever gives this knowledge in a very organized way to others, whoever you preach to, every time they chant, we get a commission, right? And all of us in the chain. This is multi-level marketing, huh? Shabdahari. Shabdahari Prabhu is also an expert in multi-level marketing. This is ultimately the multi-level marketing that we have. Each one reach out to so many others, and just imagine how exponentially you can reach out. If that one course of Bhagavad Gita 18 days course can take people, almost 7,000 people registering, just imagine what all of us can do within our own capacities here. So, Shabdahari Prabhu, I thank you for this session today. I would like the next 5 to 10 minutes, if you're available, for people to ask some questions.
Yes,
and
Prabhu,
I will shut up for a moment.
Yes, definitely, Prabhu. Would love to answer questions. Yes. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, you can just type it in the comment box and I'll see if you can go through it. I'll pick some questions.
Or Jagjeev Jagannath Prabhu, you've shown your hand. Please go ahead, ask the question.
Oops.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Shabdahari Prabhu, fantastic presentation, very, very
Hare Krishna,
inspirational.
Prabhu.
But only thing I wanted to caution, because I'm in a profession which makes me think in a different way. I just wanted to caution an elder brotherly advice to say that nobody can stop us, to say that nobody can control us on a social media is too far a statement. I wanted to caution. That's point number one. And what we see in our organization also, many of the lapses happen because social media is very free. Internet world is very free to people, right?
Yes.
When they get inspired, they can easily access it and without our knowledge can do damage. So I think Srila Prabhu has to put a due diligence control on his community members that they should not do anything unless it is directed by him or a group of people who will, if they have to tag it as a preaching thing, and it has a branding of Damodar Desh.
Right.
If they post something, any consequences, they'll have to go through. Because just like in the way we are seeing in the coronavirus cases where they do a very deep level contact tracing, any of our security incidents, cyber security incidents, we go very deep level of contact tracing. So while we are doing the contact tracing, we find something very new thing that we never saw that could ever even happen. And that will lead rise to catching somebody else. So somebody opens a case on me, somebody's investigating, actually the case ends up with somebody else getting fired. My case gets down. So we need to be a bit cautious, but it's a fantastic opportunity for us to go there. And third point, I want to make it short, is that good that we have to jump. This is a good time to adopt to the new technology. Otherwise, we'll be become obsolete. However, that jump has to be from the conventional things that we have been doing, has to be gradual. Of course, coronavirus has given some kind of an acceleration and become a catalyst, but we should not get into the trap. This thing has to be organic and evolutionary, because we should also think one thing. We may do fantastic digital preaching, but if we lose the focus on building temples, funding them, funding the acharyas sitting there, then the foundation will go for a toss. So that's three things that we need to be extremely careful in adopting to this change. This is my opinion. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Jagannath Prabhu, I think you are a man in that profession, and that's why I also brought in some words of care, and we need some special view in this part of the world. I think we will work towards building the do's and don'ts, the boundaries, and how the structure needs to be carefully, taking advice from people like you, Jagannath Prabhu, and definitely inputs from Shabdahari, and we'll bring about a think tank of leaders in this part of the world trying to do that. And I think we need to have some focused sessions of maybe 30, 40 people, not more, on trying to build that whole strategy for us in this part of the world. Yep. Any other comments, questions, please? Yep. Sunil Prabhu, go ahead.
Unmute the mic. Prabhu, recently there was a big issue, Islamophobia, because now we want to know how we can track the person if suppose he's real, is the genuine guy, because somebody started an account in Pakistan and he put it in as a UAE, and then all the problem was started and a lot of people was fired, and then government started tracking them and all. The big issue was there. So as a security aspect, suppose, because I'm online, because I can open any account with different name. So Shabdahari can guide us how we can track that person is a really genuine and he's really interested in which I'm talking about my topics.
Yes. So usually the flow is, when you're building online communities, like for example, I have a Facebook group, and before I bring them into that Facebook group, I ask them multiple questions. I don't just allow anybody and everybody to come in. So there are three parts to this. The first part is the content that you put out there. So you're putting out a video piece, you're putting out an article or a podcast. And at the end of that video, you say, okay, click on this link, go and register and join the group. Now, when they're going to join that group, you can ask some specific questions over there. You can filter the people. And many times I also removed some of those profiles that are not answering those questions. So that way you can filter out the people who are coming to the group. And let's say they come inside the group and then you invite them to your online your online class or your online meeting that you're going to do. That's also another place where you can filter out. You can find out exactly what they are, where are they from. So there are multiple points on how you can create that filtering mechanism. And I think once you execute it, you'll come to know about it properly. Yes, but yes, I understand what you meant by that. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Any other question? Any of the leaders?
Yeah, there's one question.
Yes, go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah. Who had a question? Just checking. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Mic is not open. It's unmuted.
It is.
Yes. We can hear you, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. The question is very simple. As everybody was talking the same thing, here it is a very high sensitive area. When you ask some questions, if they are not answering, or sometimes they bluff, how will you be able to make it out again? The question what Sunil Prabhu was asking, further on that I'm asking. How to make them...
Can you repeat your question, Prabhu, to make it clear?
Yeah.
Talking about question inside a group?
Yeah, because you were answering for Sunil Prabhu and you were telling the system or the mechanism of asking questions. If they are not answering, you have to skip them. If they are answering, you can accept. But suppose if they do lies, they tell lies, how we can make out a game? Then it's a problem.
Yeah,
right?
that the only way is after they come in and you'll have to deal with that separately. Yes.
Yeah.
But usually, Prabhu, what I've noticed is I understand it is a sensitive region. There's you need to keep some basic checks and measures. But if you see Facebook as a platform, and if there are so many micro groups. When I say micro groups, is on every topic you can think of. Like for example, in gamers, they have their own world. You look at many initiatives that are happening have their own small groups. So when we are going out and preaching, we just need to make sure that we are adding value first, and then we are bringing them inside. That's why I said there's a difference between that long, short content and long content. If people are really interested, then they come into that group. Then you can ask them why do they want to be a part of it, and how did you hear about this, and those kind of questions. So yes, I totally understand what you're saying, Prabhu. But yeah, once they come in case they type some wrong answers, or if they're lying, and I mean, you'll only know once they come inside. But as long as you are really giving them the value and you're taking care of them well, I don't think there'll be an issue. But again, that is on a case-to-case basis. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Okay. Any other quick one or two last questions, or you can type it out so Shraddha Prabhu can pick it up if you want. I think there's one question from Gopal, how to connect to the 30-day challenge. I think Sham has already sent the link. You can type the connect to the link and pick up. Yeah. Any other quick questions, please? It's already late.
Just one thing I'd like to add very shortly is I'm working on some very small, very quick tutorial videos on simple basics on what Shabdahari Prabhu talked about. So something like how to open a YouTube channel, how to open an Anchor account. Interesting, you're talking about Anchor, because I was just instructing some of our Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya to put 3 years worth of recordings all on Anchor so people can access. I'm sure Tulsi Govind Prabhu will agree with me if he's on the call. And so I'm working on some basic tutorials like this. If you're interested, please do get in touch with me before we can go back and ask Shabdahari Prabhu maybe for a future session later. But for the initial stages, maybe I can help you out a little bit. Please do get in touch, and hopefully I can help out with some tutorials. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Shabdahari Prabhu has got some assistance here. Thank you. Any other quick comments, questions, please? Last call. Your chance is over, Sunil. Thank you. Tulsi Govind Prabhu. Somebody else wants to say something?
Yeah.
Yep. Anirudh Gopal Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Prabhu. I'm a bit late in joining. Maybe Prabhu would have answered the question, but I just want to quickly ask, because we are been living in a place where we have to be extremely careful with our activities, and by coming in of this internet media, we are also exposing ourselves. So is there a way to figure out that we are being spied?
Is there any way to figure out whether you're being spied?
Yes.
I'm not too sure about the, how it works over there in terms of the legal side and what level the monitoring happens. But usually if you see, most of these channels are open, like they're very open. Like if you set up a YouTube channel, I don't think there's any restriction on that. I don't think even, locally they can do anything if you're posting, videos and content like that. So the whole approach is slightly different. So I don't have an answer to that question, Prabhu. I'm not sure how it works from a government perspective. Yes.
No problem. It's okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. So, Prabhu, your question taken. I think let's do it in a smaller forum. I think sometimes what happens in this digital forum is whatever is spoken, things like that get into YouTube and a permanent record. And some of us are employed, and our employment company may not want us to do some things. So there are various things that we would need to see. I think we would need to take it offline and have a session with Jagjeev Jagannath Prabhu also involved, and the leaders from the various yatras. Let's have a discussion around this aspect and have a discussion around what level we can allow that exposure or not. Yeah, I think we will do that. Guru Maharaj very clearly gave us the unique names for every one of our deshas. I think when we are posting, we need to be more careful about what we post, etc. And so I think there is a learning here. We need to be cautious. For the moment, great. Let's move on, but let's build upon these particular cautious steps that we would need to take on. And maybe within a week or so, I'll try to see whether we can have one more session internally and pull in Shabdahari Prabhu where required.
Sure,
so any
Prabhu.
other closing
That'd be great.
remarks or any other quick leader that wants to say, anybody else wants to say something, please, or closing remarks from Shabdahari? Okay. Thank you very much, Shabdahari
Thank you.
Prabhu. I
Thank you,
thank you
Prabhu.
on behalf of